ready, I'll go ahead and do my little intro code.
I am almost ready. It's about, okay. There we go. We should be live right now. I think you're ready to go.
Welcome to the podcast, The Oblivious and the Intellect, where we discuss random topics suggested by members like you. Feel free to donate credits if you want to hear us talk about stuff again. Alright, do we have any topics?
Not sure I'll access the YouTube. Hold on.
Alright.
See if we get any regular viewers going. They'll want to suggest topics. Type in all my stuff. There we go. Okay. Yeah, there's like one person watching.
Alright.
There's no one here. Looks like we're gonna have to come up with topics ourselves.
Oof.
So, what do you want to talk about?
I don't know. I could talk about many things, but some of them might not be too interesting.
It's fine. We're doing this for fun. Like, it doesn't need to really be that interesting. This ain't like Gamer's channel where you need to post interesting stuff to get views.
Alright, so we got things.
Yeah, I'll let you do the thinking. I probably can't come up with many good ones.
I don't know what I can do for a topic.
Looks like this podcast might be where it's welcome.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Alright, what about future plans? Like,
Future plans.
what are your plans for the future?
I plan to graduate high school in 2021, and I plan to go to college, get a business or accounting major, and become an accountant. That's my plan on the career side of things. On the Discord side of things, I want Xrovia to last as long as it can. That's my plan. And I want it to become a lasting community. My goal for Xrovia, even though this seems a bit lofty, so bear with me, is that I want it to last until the 10-year anniversary of the community, i.e. December 2022.
Alright.
It'll take a lot of work and a lot of surviving, but it's possible. So, what's your plans for the future?
Right now I'm currently in college. My plans are to graduate college and become an architect. I know that in terms of architecture, what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to find a way to get a couple hours working under an architect before I graduate. Then after that, I have to continue working under an architect for a couple years before I can actually get an architecture license and practice architecture.
Oh yeah, so basically you gotta be an apprentice for a bit?
Yeah, essentially.
Alright.
So yeah, I need to get that experience before I actually go like into the field, becoming like my own kind of person. But I think I'll still work under a firm until like I'm confident enough with the way things work. And then maybe, just maybe, I might work out how to make my own firm once I actually figure out how things work. Let's continue far into the future. I mean, I don't know what kind of projects I'd work on. I could probably do things like maybe housing, maybe some high-rise buildings or something, but I'm not completely sure.
Mm-hmm. Pretty cool play.
Yeah.
You got any plans for your maps or Discord or anything? You got any goals?
Well, as for Discord, I don't really have any plans. I'm just, chilling here. This is my main way of, being social because I'm not
Escaping from
really
the
much of
world.
an extrovert. And,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
could
know.
tell that you're a bit shy.
Um, what's it called? Yeah, I'm a bit shy at times, but at the same time, like, because of the way that my body is, like, I can be a little bit intimidating as well, so,
Yeah.
yeah, I
What
prefer
are
not
you,
to be
like
outside too
six
much.
feet tall or something?
Basically.
Yeah, I'm 6 foot one or so. It's just that I'm
Um,
not the best at socializing. I'm more,
I get very socially awkward.
yeah, same here.
What's it
I
called? What
just
else for
tried and
plans? I mean, my plans for gaming, being part of the Steam community here, I'm just trying to build myself up to a point where I can actually get on the front page of the Steam Workshop, maybe just once.
kind of like
That's kind
how
of my, that's
Newgrounds
my
used to
goal.
be a thing that people strive for, like being in leaderboards.
The thing is, like, on the Steam Workshop for this one game, like, it doesn't. Sometimes it seems like it doesn't cost all that much to be on the front page. But like, you find either the most simple thing or the most advanced thing on there. It's ridiculous. Like, I make all these crazy things all the time that are really awesome, but they usually are not noticed because I'm not really a big brand builder in that community. Like, I make some pretty cool stuff, but like, I work solo and like, if I make something, I upload it, I don't really do much with it. Like, other people go as far as like photoshopping their images and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, those people have been posting for years. Like, I'm still kind of new to this community. I've only been in the Space Engineers community for only like a year or so. So, like, most people don't even know who I am in that community.
Yeah.
And yet, I'm just here building spaceships, mechs, giant rovers, all this stuff. And yeah, it's kind of weird. Just trying to
Just
build
don't
this
give
stuff.
up.
I'm slowly gaining people, very slowly. I have like 44 subs in Steam.
Yeah, I just want, for my plans on Discord and gaming and all that, I just want to have a lasting friend group and have ex Rovia live as long as possible, just because it's probably going to be my chief accomplishment. Like, if I'm going to do something in the community, it's going to be as the leader of ex Rovia. So I want to put ex Rovia first in as many ways possible.
Alright, that sounds nice.
Yeah.
A
And
lasting friends group is something. I don't know. It's
I
kind of
think
weird to
another
really think
goal
about
that
it.
I
It's like
have.
it's something we all kind of want, but to maintain something like that's a bit of like a scary thing to think about. Because if you can't maintain it, then what do you have?
Mhm. Another thing is I want to be able to get to a point where I could like not challenge fraud, but at least be on par with them in terms of the community that I make and the amount of people who think I'm cool.
Mm,
Like, I wouldn't say self-aggrandizing, but I would want at least just people to remember, oh hey, that's Edward, he did all this cool shit. I want to leave my impact. And so far, it looks like it's working. Pretty much everyone next to Rovia and Cape to know me. And if I stopped, I'd probably be remembered. You know what I mean?
probably.
Yeah. Memory is a fickle thing. Whenever, whenever someone sees you positively, even if you make a lot of mistakes, they'll usually remember you that way. They miss you a lot more when you're gone.
Yeah.
And even if you made a lot of mistakes, like near the end of whatever you're doing, they'll be forgotten and you'll be remembered for the good things you did, unless you do something really bad.
Yeah. Then you just be remembered for that one bad thing.
Mm.
I mean, I don't know. Being remembered is kind of a weird topic because I know there are people out there that like their fear is like people not remembering them. But at the
Yeah,
same
for
time, they
me,
really need to be remembered.
I just get the not necessarily wanting to be remembered. I just want to leave an impact, do something.
You basically want to be acknowledged in a way.
Yeah, that's real. I'm pretty sure you've noticed that as well. That like,
Yeah, that's something everyone kind of wants or need for attention.
yeah,
I mean, everyone wants attention. That's just a natural thing.
mm. In Caveton, that's like my biggest problem because there's so many people who are so much more accomplished than I am, and I want to strive to do something. You know,
hmm I mean,
just
it
like
kind of
how,
depends on what you do because there are like, what's it called? Like, you're the leader against Rovia, which
yeah,
is one thing people will remember you by. But like, that's basically that's almost it for your title, other than you being like a bit of a historian.
yeah. I mean, I've also been a political figure, and I'm probably gonna be an important dude whenever like
hmm
stuff goes wrong in the community.
Yeah.
And not exactly doing anything fancy, but I've outlasted all my problems.
I mean, I'm basically just doing community events, and that's pretty much it.
And it reminds me of that one story that I heard about where it was like Julius Caesar was upset like when he saw a statue of Alexander the Great because by Caesar the point in his life that Caesar was at, he achieved almost nothing in comparison to Alexander. Funny thing is that he ended up going on to do a lot more and he was a lot more remembered.
hmm
You know what I mean?
Yep. Like, what's the first thing people think of when they hear Caesar?
Yeah. They people say the
Greece,
word
Greece,
Caesar.
Rome, and the fact he was murdered.
Yeah.
And also
Caesar
pizza.
is a lot more talked about than Alexander the Great ever was, so I guess he ended up achieving what he wanted.
Yep.
Yeah. How much you on about the like when Caesar was 40 or so, he looked at that statue of Alexander the Great, laughed about how pathetic he was. Like just because he went on to achieve so much more.
Mm. I
Kind
don't
of
know if he
ironic.
even recognized that he did more. The thing is, Alexander the Great was probably a legend at the time.
Yeah,
I mean, it's still
now
a legend
Caesar's a legend.
nowadays. Yeah, now they're
Like
both legends.
almost
For
2 years after Caesar died, Rome declared him a god. Like there was a whole ceremony and everything.
hmm
Crazy to think about, isn't it? Like the people loved him so much that they declared him a god.
yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, and of course Augustus ended up overseeing that because it was good for his own political standing to be called the son of a god because he was like Caesar's heir or whatever.
hmm All right, let's think of a new topic.
Yeah.
Um, look around my room for something interesting. That might be interesting. Um, what experiences have you had with Nerf guns, like
I've
airsoft
got
guns?
one and I never have been able to use it.
I have two of them. I have a an air zone rotating barrel blaster, which is like a really small hand. It's like almost like a large handgun, but like it has a little rotating barrel at the end. So every time we reload, it moves the barrel so we can shoot another one. I have like
Mm-hmm.
eight slots in that barrel. And the other one I have is a Nerf crossbow with a magazine. So that's pretty nice. Like it holds about 10 darts in each magazine. You put that in and you do just like shoot, reload. This all you do is like pull a little thing, it automatically reloads.
It's cool.
So that's pretty nice. And the crossbow can shoot up to 100 feet. And while the other blaster shoots about 50 feet.
Yeah. So that's my experience with Nerf guns. Never was able to use it because my grandmother's like real paranoid that like somebody will get hurt or something.
Oof.
And by this point, I'm pretty much too old to use one. I'm 17.
You can use one even like you can use one for like target practice basically. Put some like what's it called? Put some bottles up and then just aim at them.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. I also have
There's a lot
wooden
of
bow and
stuff that
arrow in
I
my
missed
room.
as a kid just because I'm a little bit of a weirdo.
Yeah, same here.
Mm. But
Like I
hey,
don't even
it's
remember
okay.
my childhood. That's how like that's how much I've missed out. Like I don't even remember it.
Mm. I'm just, like, I've just been a social isolate pretty much almost my whole life until a couple of years ago, or at
Have
least
you ever used a bow and arrow before, like in real life?
no. And I bet I'd be shit
No.
at it.
It takes a little bit of practice, but it's actually pretty nice.
I'd be like that one
Uh,
dude in Minecraft who like bow spams.
it's harder than it looks, but it's actually easier than it looks at the same time.
Yeah.
Because like when you use a bow and arrow, you think it's more like when you aim anything in general, like you can't just point the trigger towards someone. You
Oh
have to
yeah,
align
I
it
know.
correctly.
It's like in Minecraft.
Because
You
like
have to
when
aim
you fire a bow,
upwards.
you're just like no. Of course you have to aim upwards, but it depends on how far a target is. But I mean, like when and even then you can miss really really badly if you don't know what you're doing. Because what
Yeah.
happens is you can aim towards someone, but the thing is you have to align the weapon with your line of sight.
Yeah.
Because if you don't do that, let's say you just like randomly aim, you have your arrow, but your arrow is like off to the side, and you shoot, you just shot your arrow to the left.
Yeah.
Like you just have to make sure it's actually lined up, so it's like actually going the direction you want.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, I'm typing something real quick. Okay. Alright.
Oh, what's it called? I use rubber arrows. They don't hurt when you get hit with them. I mean, they don't they don't penetrate or anything, but they just feel like a little rubber dart in
That's
you.
what she said. Oh, okay, I'm kidding.
Oof.
Sorry.
But what's it called? They're actually strong enough to rip through foam, which is interesting.
Mm.
What else is a topic we can talk about? What about origami? Like
Origami.
the art of folding.
Well, that has a little bit of a complex history with me. I've tried a lot and I've failed a lot. Pretty much the only
I
thing that I
mean,
can make is a paper
yeah,
airplane.
pretty much. Well, that's the thing. You just keep trying things. Like I remember in middle school, I played a lot with just folding randomly, and I came up with all these cool things. And I, of course, have so many failures because you get folds that don't do anything. I mean, I had this one thing in my room that I made. It's a origami flower that I came up with. Completely original design. It's kind of a weird flower though. It's like a three-petal design. But it works
Right?
nicely. It has a little slot in it, so you can put like a little stick in there, and then you have the flower on the stick.
Yeah.
Of course, there's glue leaves on it or whatever. So it's like a little rose that I put in my pencil cup.
Hmm.
In terms of paper airplanes, I loved making paper airplanes. I have a book about how to make like 50 of them.
Yeah, I'm pretty
And yeah,
sure
I've
I got
experimented
one
a
of
lot, looked
those.
up things on the internet, so
I've got one of those books somewhere in my possession, but I don't know where it is. Like, I'm sure of it that I have one.
yeah. Yeah, paper airplanes are fun and cool. I remember I used to actually experiment with paper
I
airplane
was just
design as well.
curious about them. That's really
There
like
was
one of my
this
main traits.
there was this one paper airplane. It's like a it's a weird have it's a really people know what this paper airplane looks like, but they don't know the name of it or how it's made or anything like that. But I know how to make it. It takes about maybe half an hour to make properly. But like what's it called? It has like it only requires like one cut because it requires like a tail. Like cut a piece of paper off and like reattach it as like a tail, so you have like this weird swallowtail, not swallowtail. I don't know. It's weird. It's like it has like fangs in front with like really wide wings, and then it has a tail coming out with like little larions on the end of that tail. So it's like really interesting looking, but the thing that makes it so special is that it's able to fly in the air really, really well. And something with this design makes it so if you throw it in the wind will actually carry it higher.
Hmm.
So it's really interesting to throw one of those, and it's a windy day. You'll just throw it and it'll never come back.
Yeah, it just flies into outer space.
Basically. But I remember I modified the design where I completely redid the fangs. Instead of fangs, I gave the little paper airplane horns.
Oh
So
wow.
it was a little horned airplane flying around.
A
It's pretty
little
interesting,
evil airplane.
messing with the way that it works.
And I just sent you a little bit of a meme I made.
I think I saw that one.
Yeah, that's just a little bit of paint.net and some finesse.
Hmm.
It's kind of funny. You could use that for a lot of memes. Fraught when he doesn't have his coffee. But yeah, you want me to do the subject this time, or you good?
Yeah, I've already gone through several subjects. I think it's about time you went down to a subject.
Yeah. Do you know Fundy? Like,
Bundy?
have you heard
No.
of him? Oof. He's like a dude who codes a lot of stuff in Minecraft and does a lot of cool things.
That
He's
sounds
made a bunch of.
interesting.
Yeah, you should check him out on YouTube.
Hmm.
Recently, he made a video about like coding people's ideas in Minecraft. There was one of them that was even like, "Oh yeah, have Minecraft and Minecraft and Minecraft and Minecraft and Minecraft." You know what I mean? Like it was just,
Hmm. He just memed it.
yeah, just Minecraft within Minecraft to the fifth. Yep, it's me and the boys in Minecraft and Minecraft and Minecraft and Minecraft and Minecraft. Let's go.
Minecraftception.
Yeah, me and the boys.
Kind of weird to think about.
Mhm. You could probably do that though. Like it's possible.
Have you ever thought about going into the map making community?
Yeah, but I'm not good at making maps. So you need to teach me.
It doesn't really take too much. I can probably show you how to do like simple maps. Like
Yeah.
maybe I can show you how to do something like a simple Skywars map.
Maybe you could like teach me how to do that and stuff like that. That'd be
Oh
cool.
yeah, it's actually really simple. I can show you what it takes.
Yeah. You could be my apprentice. Or no, I could be your apprentice. Got it mixed up.
You mix that up a bit. Yeah, I can show you how stuff works. It's actually not that hard
Well, like one
because
of the
there's a
greatest.
big difference between a realm, a in the hosted map and a map that people download. Yeah, there's a huge difference between them.
That's the one thing that's good about the community today. It's just that there's so many people that you can learn things from. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So
Yep.
after we're done with this, you wanna teach me how to make a map before we do the challenge stuff?
I actually host my maps.
Yeah.
So yeah, I gotta post my two maps for today, and then I can probably show you maybe after all that's done.
All right. We got a lot of
Actually, I could probably like discuss the basics in the what's it called in our podcast here. So if you guys watching actually want to make your own maps, you can kind of fill off these
Oh, I got an
basics.
idea. Why don't we make a map right now, like while we're talking?
Takes too long. We won't be able to really make much out of it.
Well, yeah, but it'd still be kind of fun to do. It's fine. We don't need to
Yeah,
finish it.
one thing to keep in mind is like I am one of like the what's it called? I'm kind of like an older style map creator, so I
Because
won't
you're
be
from
using command
council.
blocks to build my map. But
Yeah.
I'll probably use them from time to time to accomplish things
I
in the
don't
game.
know how to use command blocks either, so we're in the same boat.
I know how to use basic commands, but I won't be doing things stuff like copy and paste because I already have really bad impressions of how that went.
Do you have me
Yeah,
friended
I've
on
had some
Xbox?
major failures, and other people tried to show me how it works.
You got you got me friended on Xbox so we could work on making a map.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna put the game mode in the creative. It's gonna be an infinite
Right.
world.
Do you want me to hop on right now and like
Yeah.
kind of show you how to do these things? I mean,
Kind of.
you could possibly go ahead and what's it called? Um, you can probably like stream it to the podcast. I can show the basics.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, let me just go ahead and reload the game. Sign
Yeah,
in.
this is our podcast. We can do whatever we want with it.
Nah, it's yours, man. Actually, it's both of ours technically,
Yeah,
but
communism. Salute.
that's funny.
Yeah.
All right, so
Dragoism. What? What? I'm doing a podcast right now. I can't. Alright. Okay, so you're gonna hop on.
it's taking a while to load because this is where Minecraft is right now.
Because you're a console player and we all know that, like, consoles aren't the strongest device.
Basically, but my console's stronger than a computer, so check me.
Right. Well, my computer is pretty good. Rarely ever lags.
I got a little laptop.
Oh wow, that's gonna be a piece of crap. Laptops are always worse. It's just like you can take it
I
everywhere.
gotta
What?
eventually get a better one.
I can't come down right now. I'm doing a podcast.
So let's see if I
Alright.
can possibly join
I
that.
think I'm actually. I think I'm actually gonna have to go. Could you hold down the fort for me while I eat?
Fine.
And
Um,
an
the
introvert runs a
basics,
podcast.
the basics for building a map. Um, I guess the first thing that I always start with is an idea. The most important part of a map is probably
Don't make
the
him mad for
concept.
no reason.
Yeah, basically, you don't just make a map because it sounds cool. You gotta have an idea. Like, if everyone's making, like, let's say everyone's making stuff like, Bed Wars. You don't want to make a Bed Wars map just because everyone else is making one. That makes your map kind of, like, following everyone else's stuff. It doesn't make it unique or original. And why would someone play your map if they can go somewhere else and play the same exact thing? That's
I
kind
got
of
an idea.
something to think about.
My idea is
So,
crop wars. So, it's like a Monster Industries, but instead of like money, you have crops, and you could use it to buy mobs to attack the other team.
yeah, that could be an interesting idea.
Yeah, and like the
So,
first team to die loses.
yeah, that can be an interesting idea. So let's say that that's your idea for a map, all right? So now you have your idea. Now you need to bring it to the forefront. Now, the thing is,
You
you
need to
should
make it an
like
interesting
before
idea.
you build anything else, you need to make an introduction to your map. You want to build a lobby. Where are people gonna spawn? What's the first thing they're gonna see? what I usually start out with is what is the exact block they're going to spawn on. Are they going to spawn on a
I
house? Are
got
they
a
going to
better
spawn on the
idea,
top of a
by the way,
pyramid? Are they
for
going to spawn on a fountain? What are they going to spawn on?
yeah, I got a
And
better idea
you,
for my map, by the way.
all right, let's go ahead and use that then.
Yeah,
What's
my
your
better
idea?
idea is so there's a farm that you have to survive on, and there's a zombie apocalypse going on, like a bunch of mobs and crap are spawning. Probably zombies, but I haven't worked that entirely out yet. And you have to survive for as long as possible. I'll be okay. Drago, be right back.
All right, so let's say that that's your map idea, right? The zombie survival
Coming.
on a farm or whatever it is. So let's go back to the lobby. So you want to make your lobby kind of this area where you spawn in, but you also want to, depending on the type of game, you want to make it something that will really entertain people while they wait. Because of course it's a lobby, and if you have a game where only a certain amount of people to play and people can't join mid-game, you want to make sure people can wait in the lobby and actually be entertained there. So, um, the most it kind of depends on what your game is. If it's a game like that where you can't join mid-game, you want a big lobby so people can take the time to explore that and do different things. If it's like a simple game where people can join whenever they want, then you can make a small lobby so there's almost nothing to look at except for the bare basics you need. But you want to think design-wise, like you want to put your artistic style onto it. You don't want to make a big old bedrock lobby because it's kind of boring. You want to use your different block types and stuff to kind of make a cool looking lobby, something that looks nice. Of course, go ahead, go crazy, go abstract, go like build a village or something all around. As long as people can't escape the lobby, that's really all it is. Now, once you have your central room for the lobby, then you can add things coming out of the lobby, like extensions to the lobby. These extensions can be stuff like shops, credits for your map, like who built it, who helped you. Then you can have stuff like your other maps, so you can have like a list of other maps people can play, so we can know what else is cool. And then you can have like what's it called, of course, information, how to play. You can do all these different things just coming out of the lobby. So yeah, that's basically it. And of course, you want to label these. The most basic option for your small map is to put signs. If you have a lobby that's big enough, you can use your blocks to actually build out giant letters so people could just read and just like look up and see, oh, that's where I'm gonna play the game. Oh, that's where the shop is. This is where I can see who built the stuff. This is how I play. Like it just says that over there. You can also do pixel art. That's something that's really interesting. I mean, pixel art makes the thing look nicer, but it's also better for visual people because they're like they see a bow and arrow and they're like, okay, cool, that's probably where I can play the game. Or they see like an emerald, they're like, okay, that's the shop. So you can do different things like that. Um, let's see. Now, once you have your lobby and everything set up, it's time to build your game. So once you have your idea for the game, the first thing you want to do is build the actual location the game takes place in. Like in the case of Edward's idea, like a zombie survival game or farm. Let's say you want to build like a nice little farm. Let's build like a little field of crops, build like a nice little house and some other things around. Then you want to think about the theme. Since the zombie survival, you probably want to make everything a little more gloomy or a little bit more run down, more apocalypse style. Probably have some like burning congregations or whatever. And then what you want to do is you want to make sure to limit the area of your map. Now, this varies. So you can do an open world map, that's perfectly fine, but there's always going to be some kind of limits depending on what kind of map you're doing. Unless it's completely full on survival mode where you can go infinitely off in the distance, you're going to have some limits where you don't want people to go beyond there or else they're never going to see what's going on in your map. So you can do that by using barriers or adding like actual like decoration that acts as a wall. Like let's say in this case you have a forest, but you make the forest so thick that people can't actually walk through it. So it blocks them from exiting the map. Then what you can do from there, you want to set up how your game works. Let's say it's a zombie survival, and what you want to do is you kill zombies, and you use your experience as currency, or use the zombie flesh as currency. Now, from here is where things gets a little bit more technical. What you want to do is you want to think about how you're actually going to make this run. So to make a game run, there's a lot of different like little bits that make it all go together. Because you gotta make sure you have your actual game things that the game does, you want to make sure you have the things that the player does as your two separate items that work together. So in terms of the game, let's say you want it to be in waves. You want to build a machine that spawns zombies. So let's say you have dispensers. You want to make sure people can't reach the dispensers, or make sure they don't have the privileges to open the dispensers. There's different ways you can do that. Or you can use a command block to just summon the zombies. There's different ways you can do it. You don't have to do the command block route. You can also just use what's it called? A mob spawner. That's also a thing that works. There's many different ways to do the same thing. Now, if you're using a command block or a dispenser, the thing with a dispenser is that you're gonna use the hoppers to reload the dispenser, because dispensers don't have an infinite inventory. So you can go ahead and put that in, and you can also use that as a way of making it so the waves get harder over time by putting different types of mobs in that dispenser, so it can spawn by chance as well. In the case of the command block, there's no such thing as chance because it's a straightforward code. So you have spawn zombie, it's going to spawn a zombie every time it gets activated. For both of those, if you want to spawn more mobs every time, you'll have to attach that to a device that will basically pulse redstone one more time every time it's activated, which is a bit more complicated. You can probably look on the internet on how to do that if Bedrock allows you to do that, or Java allows you to do that, or whatever. You can look up how to do commands on the internet as well. I'm not going to show you how commands work because, again, I am kind of weak in that area as well. Once you have that part of the map done, you want to think about how players interact with the map. Like, how do the waves work? Are they fully automatic? Do they work on a timer? Do they press a button to start it? Can they spam repeat the button? I don't recommend that. Probably put a mechanism there to make sure people can't spam the button, like block it off every time they press it, and it unblocks it every once in a while. What else? For player shops, there's different ways you can do it. You can make it so people can use their experience as a currency, or use items as a currency. Now, I only know how to do two kinds of shops. That will be sand shops and XP shops. Sand shops are very outdated and not very good anymore, but you can use that if you want. I'll be talking about XP shops, which is basically just two command blocks. Of course, you have your shop, you get near it, you press a button, and it'll basically give you your item while taking away an XP. That's basically a very simple shop. You can look up how to do that on the internet. It's actually really simple. But don't forget to add like a radius to the command blocks to make sure that people far away don't accidentally
I
get
killed 2
blocked.
hours of my day.
Yeah, once you have these systems and how they work together, you basically have your map. But the thing is, like, you're gonna think about how to finalize the map.
Alright, Drago, I'm back.
You can... Alright, welcome back.
Sorry.
Finalizing the map, let's say your map is more story-based. You want to think about how to make an ending to the map. Like, in the case of, like, a zombie survival game, like Edward was saying, like, is there a point where the waves stop? And if so, what happens? You have some grand event or something that would just say you win, just teleport you somewhere else. Or let's say, like, mid-game, if you don't want to play anymore, do you just go back to the lobby, do you leave game, or like, what do you do? You want to think about how you leave the map. In terms of an ending, you can probably do some redstone device that eventually teleports everyone to an ending screen or something. Some kind of weird cinematic happens or something, I don't know. You can figure out how to do these different things. And yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for our map.
Alright. So, I just missed the entire lesson except for the ending. So could you just briefly run through it?
Okay, so the first part about making a map is making a lobby. The second part is making the actual location of your map. The third part is making sure people can't escape from that location, or like how the location is exactly going to work and look. The fourth part is basically making the systems of both how the game works and how players interact with the game. And then the next part is basically just how do people end the game? Like, do they just leave, or does it have some kind of ending sequence?
Yeah.
But of course, there are also these little in-between steps as well.
I'm
I
thinking
would
that
say
my
one.
map is probably gonna be like an endless game. There's not gonna be an ending.
Yeah, yeah, I guess that's something that works completely fine. But here's one thing that I found to be one of the most important things, like even more important than the map itself. The most important part about a map is not the map, but the person who's hosting the map. See, the thing is, there is a kind of etiquette you have to put on when you're hosting a map. And I've learned that through the years of hosting. That if you're hosting a map and you're having your friends join and everything, let's say you just have a random people join, they don't know who you are. The one thing you don't want to do is be that one guy who shoots people with a bow while they're trying to do parkour.
Yeah,
That's
just
not a good map
don't be a
host.
good map host. Like the best part of the good, or sorry about that. A good way to be a map host is to always be unbiased with the players and try to
Absolutely
decide
true.
things in a fair way.
You have to have a rule system that you have in place, and you also have to have a certain way that you host the map. Like, what do you do exactly? Like,
Yeah.
let's say this isn't that happens all the time. So, let's say someone joins your map, and the first thing they say is, "Can I have creative mode?"
Say
Do you want to
no.
do that or no?
I'd
See,
say
for
no.
most times, you say absolutely not.
Yeah. I would probably
Just
put it in a
yeah.
more polite tone. Be like, "Oh yeah, sorry, you cannot
See,
have creative mode because that's
um,
not how the map works."
when
Like
I
I'd be more
do,
polite.
when someone says something that you know they cannot do, just say no. Just be straightforward about it. Like if
Yeah.
they say, "Can I have OP?" Just say no. You don't need to go into too much detail about it, and you need to do anything else about it. If someone needs help, you can show them how to do stuff,
Because it's
but don't give
obvious.
them anything. You can show them how to do things, but don't give them an advantage.
Yeah, just
You know,
don't.
you want to be fair with everyone. That's kind
Mhm.
of a thing, because if you're only showing certain people how to do things, then it becomes really unfair. And no one's gonna want to play if there's only one person being catered to.
Mhm. Yeah, that's a pretty good statement right there. If
Yeah. And
if something is
you also want
obvious,
to. And one thing
then
I struggle with is controlling the people who join your map as well. This is a bit of a harder thing to do, but one thing, when you're hosting a map, especially if this is a thing that realms have a problem with, you want to be like a hawk in your map.
you
Make
need to
sure that
watch
people are not
everyone.
cheating. Yeah, people will cheat. That's just a given thing. Every single game, no matter what game, people will use cheats just because they can. Like, what's it called? On my parkour map, I've already banned like 6 people just
For
for using
hacking.
hacks. Yeah, like who uses fly hacks in the parkour map, dude? Like you're not even trying to hide it. But of
That's
course, if I was
literally
there, if
just
I was
you
AFK the whole
being
time, they would have
bad.
gone through and been like, "Oh, hey, I cheated in like 5 minutes." I'm like, that's not even possible.
You know what I'm saying though? That's like you're trash if you do that. That's not any sort of skill whatsoever.
Yeah, so you want to control those kind of people. Like, make sure people are not cheating in that map. Make sure people are not giving other people unfair advantages. Like, I've seen people using experience hacks to get themselves XP, then buying things for other people, or giving people things that shouldn't exist in a map. That's something that can't happen. There are different ways you can do this checking thing. You can have a map in your hand at all times, so you can see where people are in the map to make sure they're not going places they're not supposed to. Or you can always just drink an invisibility potion from time to time to basically check if someone's like in that place that they're not
Yeah.
supposed to, or like is spying on people that you're very suspicious of.
Hmm.
Another thing to control is not just the hackers, but also the people in there, because
Yeah,
one
because a
thing that
lot of
really
people will
sucks
be
about
using loopholes. I'm pretty sure you saw in Fraud's
well,
Brony Bro map.
loopholes are one thing, but I mean like the kind of people that join as well. This is the thing where many map creators struggle on is controlling the audience that joins, because of course you're gonna whether or not you'll like it, you're gonna get some kinds of people that may be a little bit toxic in your maps. It happens.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that things don't go too far. You want to basically make sure no one's bullying each other, because it happens. People will bully each other. So you want to make sure that doesn't happen in your map. You
You
don't
need
want
to
your
put
map
your
to be the
foot
reason
down.
why someone bullies you.
Like if
You
everyone
want to
is being
basically
alright, sorry, but I'm just saying though, like if people are being too toxic, I'd probably what I would do is I'd probably kick someone to send a message to like say, oh hey, You
Well,
can't do
sure,
this.
that's
Like I'd
one thing you
warn them
can do, but
first.
you want to set a fine line. You don't want it to be in a biggest area because then people get too scared of joining the map for the fear of being picked. You want
Yeah.
to set a fine line. Of course, people are gonna like tease that line and stuff, but you want to make sure you have that line where you say, "This is where it is. If so we go past this, you're out." Of course, you
Hmm.
want to make that very clear in your post or the people you're advertising to. What's it called?
Yeah, just don't.
Um,
What do you do with that? Like, what rules do you have? What fine lines do you have?
See, what I do is I don't try to interfere with stuff, but what I do is I tell people feel free to mute other people when needed. Like, that's something most people don't realize, that's that they can mute other people when if they can, if they want. Like, if you don't like what someone else says, you could just mute them and don't have to listen to them the rest of the game. If they're specifically targeting someone, then I'll just basically tell them, dude, just stop, dude.
Yeah.
It's not fun for them or for some other people, dude. Like, just play a bit more fairly. Like,
Yeah.
most of the time they'll pay attention. But if they're just going out of their way just to do stuff, just to try to break the map, at that point just remove them from the game. Because there's
Yeah.
some people who don't even join for the actual game. They just join to mess up things as much as they can. That it happens.
It's just that
Um,
people, the one, if they're being toxic, it's more valuable to have all the normal members than like all the ones that are being toxic, just in general.
mhm. Another thing to keep in mind is that you want to be careful. You want to have respect in the way that you speak to people. You don't want to be always condescending and stuff because, of course, whether or not you like it, there are booters and stuff on the internet as well. I mean, sure, it might be illegal, but some people will boot you offline if they really just don't like you. So, being a map host, you want to make sure you're a respectable person, and you want to show that you're a respectable person. Like
Yeah,
most
don't.
booters don't just boot for the fun of it. They choose wisely who to boot, basically because if they basically the way that their mindset works is like, okay, if there's all these people and they really don't like the host, they wouldn't care if I booted the host. If all these people like the host and he gets booted, then they're all of a sudden they're all going to report me. So that's why you have to be like, basically you want to be a likable person hosting your
You
maps
just need to be
because like,
respectable.
yeah, you want to be like really careful with the way you talk to everyone. Like you don't want to be always like talking down one person because you don't know who that one person is or what they
Yeah,
might
you
do.
don't
So
want
you
to be
really don't want
negative
to.
to people in general,
Hmm.
and when you are negative, try and keep it to a minimum. I get what you're saying.
Yep.
Like keep when you're
So yeah,
being negative about something, keep it brief, keep it simple, and not go in depth.
yeah. Especially, it's especially important to explain why. You don't want to just tell someone you're breaking the rules and not tell them what rule they're breaking. You want to
Yeah,
explain to them what they can do to improve themselves. Because most people on the internet, they don't even realize that they're being toxic. So you can just
yeah. Give them
explain
a warning
why they are.
first before you
Give them a
remove them.
warning, but like explain like why they're giving a warning. Like just don't do that specific thing. Because I find a lot of things weird with like some maps I've joined is like they will just like I don't know kick people left and right for random things no one even knows about.
It's just that the thing you have to deal with in Bedrock is that you really also gotta be patient with the players because a lot of them aren't gonna be the best players
Yeah,
in the world, to put it
there's people
simply.
with different skill levels. That's another thing to keep in mind. You're not gonna have a bunch of pros join your map. You're not gonna have a bunch of noobs join your map. You're gonna have a bunch of people all in between, all over.
And
So you want
you
to
can
be
have
patient.
like a dude who has like an Asian tryhard name join your map or whatever, and then you could have like a PE player who's just a kid or whatever.
Hmm. So yeah, you want to be careful of that as well. And of course, just keep an eye on people. Of course, like you're gonna come across a lot of things hosting maps. So you just want to make sure that you're like the guardian of the map itself.
Yeah, and the guardian of the players, secondly.
Yeah. I guess that's mostly for hosted maps. That wouldn't really apply to maps that people download and the maps that people, what's it called, that people play on Realms because you won't always be there. But that's something to keep in mind, like all these different things, because they still apply when you're creating these maps. Because when you, let's say you're making a map and you post it on the like the marketplace, right? you want to make sure there's some rules written down somewhere. Of course, your credits and stuff, because you don't want someone stealing your idea or whatever. But you want to have a kind of what's it called? You want to have like a rule system in place, so whoever's hosting that map with their friends can know exactly how the map works and also what to look out for.
Mm-hmm.
hmm So that's something to watch out for.
Yeah. Thank you for telling me that. That is a pretty important thing to know.
Yeah, it is
And
definitely the most important thing. It's like I say, being a good host is a thing that's more important than the map itself. Like that's like one level above just the map idea. It's
yeah,
just being the host of the map is
just
what
don't
makes
be
and breaks
bad.
the map.
Like, don't be a bad host.
hmm
Yeah. Do you know
And
how to
so,
like get your map out there? Like how to get people to join as well? I'm pretty sure you're good at that.
well, I'm not really interested in making my map big. So what I do is when I host my maps, I just make a simple looking for group post and grab anyone. It doesn't really matter. I'm just here to host maps so anyone can join and enjoy the map. And then if they're not interested, they can just leave and another person can try. That's really all I do. I'm not aiming for a big name or anything really. I'm just
Yeah,
here to
no, I'm
host so
not
people can
really
enjoy.
naming for a big thing either. I just kind of want to host
So
maps,
yeah.
get a following, maybe have
So
them join
yeah, that's
Extrovia.
basically all you have to do. One thing is that most of the people that join your maps all the time will usually be your friends, just being interested in hanging out with you. Because if you're a cool host, people don't really join for the map. Like sure, they'll join the map and have fun, but they're there for you specifically.
Yeah, there are
Because if they're a
some
really
regular
cool guy and
players.
they like to hang out with you, then yeah, they're just gonna hang out and they'll be there playing the map for as long as you're there.
Hmm. Like you're gonna get
And of
some
course,
regulars who play all the time.
yeah, that's also true. But you also, what's it called? You also have to make sure that there are other people, like newer people from time to time as well. Because you always have regulars, then of course it'll be the same thing every single day.
Yeah.
Now, another thing to think about is updating your map. That's also something that's important. You can host the same thing over and over and over again, and
It'll be
sure, it's
boring.
fine if there's new people playing all the time. But if you have a case where there's returning players coming back all the time,
You need to
they're
give
gonna get
them
bored of
something
it because it's the
interesting.
same thing over and over. Yeah, so you can add new things from time to time. Like in my PvP map, like the most
Or
recent
you
thing I
could
did
just
was I
like
added
have
eggs to some fire.
multiple maps. Like you could just have a
Yeah,
lot
that's
of
usually
maps to
what I
use.
do. Um, Another important thing about hosting, if you're going to be one of those people that host like me, you need to have a set schedule. Like think about when you have school, like when you expect to have homework and stuff, and then think about the best time to host your maps and for how long. Like for me, I host two maps and I have 2 hours every day allocated for those maps. That's basically it. So every single day I follow a simple schedule. I know at this exact time I'm going to host the map, and that's really how it is. Like especially with this
So that
podcast here, at specific
regulars know
times for
when to
that.
join.
Yeah, basically. Because if you just host whenever you want, all of a sudden you're never gonna have regulars because they don't even know when you're hosting, and no one's gonna be on their Xbox 24/7 checking your profile to see when you're on and offline. Unless they're a stalker, that is. But other than that, no
Mm-hmm.
one's going to check.
And you got. Do you have any hardcore players that like you just randomly picked up that play your map all the time?
Yes. And I have players that I do enjoy playing with, but also some I really do not enjoy playing with. Because
Yeah,
you're gonna
the
have some
hackers.
people that, no, I mean like regulars that like, there are the regulars that are all cool and all, they'll play your map because they enjoy it, but then there's the regulars who play just because they want to prove they're better than everyone else, and it really annoys me. But
Yeah, like the
it's
people
just
who are
something you have to deal with.
tryhards.
Yeah, pretty much. But you just have to deal with it. I mean, they're not doing anything bad. If they're not doing anything bad, then there's nothing to worry about.
And a
Just make sure
large
they're not
part of
going over
Bedrock
limits.
is just the players a lot of the time. It's like, haha, you're
Oh, this
bad,
isn't
you're
applied to
always gonna
Bedrock.
have
This
that.
applies to just all maps in general, like pretty much all games in
And
general. Like if you're hosting a map in any game, like you just want to think about the way that you're doing stuff. Like we're talking
I'm
about
just saying
Minecraft,
as
like all
well
games, this applies.
In Bedrock specifically, there's less hackers, but there's a lot more spite. I will say that. Like going around in Bedrock, there are a lot more people who are upset
See,
about losing games.
hosting maps on I've hosted maps on Xbox 360, Xbox One Edition, and Bedrock, and so far I've only seen hackers in Bedrock.
Yeah, I guess you're right. It's just that the average player in Bedrock is not very good, and they'll use hacks just because
I
they
can
want
I
to.
can agree and disagree with that.
It's like it depends on who you're talking to though. Like if they have a PC, they're most likely going to be good. But if they're on PE, a lot of the time they're bad at certain things like PvP.
It
But they're not
depends.
necessarily bad at everything.
One thing to keep in mind is don't assume things. Like if you see someone who's playing on
Treat
like a
them like a
computer,
wild card.
not necessarily like you just don't want to underestimate or overestimate your the people who are playing your maps. Because of course there is some people out there that definitely have more skill than others. Like what's it called? Like on my parkour map, of course, I'll see most people playing on Pocket Edition don't really get past the first level. But you'll have a very rare occasion where someone actually does beat the first level playing on Pocket Edition, which is very rare.
Mm.
And then again, and I do from time to time get PC players who can't even beat the first level. It's kind of normal. So,
And who would you say is more toxic? Like out of all the editions on Bedrock, generally at least.
what do you mean by additions of Bedrock?
Like just console, PC, phone. What, what, who would you say is the most toxic?
That's a difficult question because it depends on what kind of toxicity. If you're talking about verbally, it would have to be uh, the Xbox players.
Really?
Yeah.
Man, they're rough and dirty.
I
Right.
mean, what's it called? It's kind of a hard question because both PC and Xbox have their own toxicity, but overall, I've seen more Xbox players being toxic.
Man, like where which edition do you think is like the toxicity in the form of haha you're really bad or whatever?
Oh, absolutely PC.
All right.
On
Yeah.
Xbox, it's just a lot of name calling and people, yeah, you know.
Yeah, there are a lot of people on PC who just call people bad a lot of the time.
Yeah, those people are always assuming superiority just because they have the better console. In reality, when they're playing on my map, they're playing by my
It's
rules. It's
equalized.
really funny seeing everyone lag equally.
And the game is like it should be equalized though, right? Isn't that like the point of the map?
I mean, yeah, that's kind of the point. I mean, at least everyone's playing together, but at the same time, it's hard going everyone playing in different ways.
Hmm. Yeah, you just have to not be toxic about hosting the map. You just have to get your map out there a little bit. You have to just be careful about how you deal with people, all that stuff.
When you're advertising the map, you're kind of building yourself. So yeah, you have to think about how you're making yourself a part of these
I think I'm
maps.
gonna have to ask that at some point too. Like, how do you advertise on the Xbox posts?
I can show you how to do it. I mean, if you play on Xbox, it's pretty simple, but if you're playing on a computer, I think there's a different way to do it.
Yeah, I'm on computer.
I'll have to look up how to do that. I can definitely discuss how that works in the next time, I guess.
I just have a question for you. What do you think is
Alright.
like the worst aspect about each edition? Like the players that come from it. Like what are they worst with in terms of toxicity?
For each version,
Yeah, like console, PC, and mobile.
I know for a fact that most of the hackers I've come across were playing Pocket Edition.
And it's just
Mm-hmm.
that part of it is
Uh,
that on average they are worse,
most
and
most of the toxic PC players I've seen have a kind of superiority complex.
and
And lots of the Xbox players I have, they don't really join for the game. They're just there to hang out and have fun by, just by being toxic. It happens. And in terms of other versions, such as what's it called, Switch and other versions, I mean, The only toxicity I see now there is just from the game itself. Like, people will try to find any little way to get the small advantage, so yeah, that's really it.
The
But
thing about
overall,
hacking and PE is just that hack clients are a lot more available, and the average skill of the player is a lot worse. So there's an incentive to hack, and they're more available. So I can kind of see why.
yeah, kind of weird.
And
Alright, I think that's about it for today. It was an interesting conversation.
mm,
Well, I'm off to go host my two maps, alright?
could I join you?
Yeah, sure. I'll be hosting my parkour map and my PvP map.
Alright, you want to be in the VC?
I'll actually be starting a party, so I can actually talk with people who join the group, so I'll have to leave the voice chat.
Alright. Because I kind of want to just have fun with you, screw around your map.
Yeah, for sure.
And is it going to be a PvP map? Like, what is it going to be that you're hosting?
I'll be hosting the parkour map, that really hard one, for 1 hour. After that
Okay.
hour is done, I'm going to exit and host the PvP map.
Oh wow, the PvP map is going to be fun for me.
hmm It's it was called, I think it's called Archer Arena right now.
Okay.
Remember that? Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I added a lot more magical items to it, so it's more fun.
You know what I always find funny?
Hmm.
When a person joins, and then like whenever they get killed, they just leave automatically. I've
Yeah,
seen
it
that a
happens
lot.
sometimes. With a PvP map, you don't lose anything when you die, so people don't have the reason to leave.
And I don't think I have you friended actually. I'm gonna have to friend you.
Alright.
All right.
I'm gonna have to take out my microphone and put it into my controller so I can make my post.
Okay, so I'm gonna type in Drago Fiush.
hmm As it's spelled in the Discord, just without the arrows.
And Brian Rios, you right?